Welcome to Talking Halo. This is Derek Ciapola, my co-host, my partners in crime, Jared Timms and Nate Green, and this is a non-Bash Perry episode. Yes. So, leading off, Jared, how you doing?
I'm not doing too bad. Not the one that really has been bashing Perry all that much. It's been you guys, and um, thanks YouTube for backing me up. I love seeing those comments. No, you guys didn't
I didn't
like.
even
You guys
read
don't
the
look at the
YouTube
comments on
comments.
YouTube, do
I
you?
I saw him. I love to see 54 wins in the win column. That's all I can say. We can move on.
Bash, I not have to go read those comments. I hadn't been reading, been so busy. Now I'm curious.
Yep, you should go.
I
If they're
should.
not, thanks YouTube. Appreciate it, guys.
Hey, for the record, we asked for that feedback. So if
I
that's how
love
you
it.
all feel, that's how
I
you
love it.
feel.
I love it.
But literally in the last episode said, "Hey, let us know how you feel. If this is how you feel." This is the great part about having me able to talk about sports, talk about baseball. We can all disagree. It's fine by me. Today, though, that's not our focus. Our focus is what's going on with the Halos and some possible rule changes. First things first, base running, arguments in the dugout. Some things have been happening around Angels baseball in the last 2 days. Jared, what's got you going, man? What's up?
What's got me going? No, nothing's got me going. I've always said it, Nate. I think you're the same way as me. The only thing that really pisses me off is when stupid baseball happens, right? Like I think that's fair. Like you can handle losses if you lose, but when you lose because of stupid baseball, that's when it gets a little bit frustrating. I think it's been about a week or so since some of this stuff has happened, but we the Joe Adele play against the Braves, where he rounds first base, and
Mhm.
very critical part of the game as well, Nate. I think you were at that game. Very critical part
Yep.
of the game, late in the game. Could have definitely scored a couple more runs there, and it was unfortunate to see that. But again, fundamental baseball. I'd be interested to know what happened. I didn't see post game comments or anything like that. And then it felt like almost the next game was the Matt Thice incident where he forgets how many outs there are or something along the lines of that. So that's two of the things that really grinds my gears or kind of just pisses me off a little bit.
Grind your gears.
Yeah, it grinds my gears about baseball in general. Just play fundamental baseball. That's really it. And I don't know if you have anything else you have to say about that, but fundamental baseball, it should be easy, right? Like you should be at that point in your career where you can play the game well and know what's going on. I think, right? You'd like to hope.
I mean, this is what you get with the young team, right? I mean, very young team, young players all around, guys that are making their major league debut, guys that are really getting their first chance to play at the professional level. That's what you get are the young mistakes, and that's what we've seen a lot this year. New coaching staff on top of young kids. I mean, that's a recipe for what we've seen this year, and it's very interesting because Wash has a very veteran staff. Two, at least two guys on his staff who have been managers, him and Bo Porter, and then he's got guys that have been around the game a long time, Eric Young Jr., and the list goes on and on and on. And then you have some of the young kids as well. So it is very interesting that you bring up this point just because of like the very old heads and the very young new kids getting their first chance to really play Major League Baseball.
That's the interesting part of me is the fundamental part of it that you can't afford that if you're a team that's devoid of talent. You got guys hurt. You need guys playing straight up 100% fundamental baseball all the time. And the problem I really have isn't so much as Matt Tice. Matt Tice, we've been hearing a lot about bad fundamental decisions from Joe Adele pretty much all year. And that to me is the frustrating part. Like all year. If I hear Joe Adele's name, my first thought is now, what did he do this time? And for a guy who's so talented, it really kind of blows my mind that he has all the physical tools. Where's his head at when it comes to the game? That's what I'm wondering about. That just is it.
Yeah, I mean we've been saying it. We've been saying it for a while. Had him on the show here too, and it was a lot of fun. I love talking to Joe, and he's a great human being, great person. Fun to
Hmm.
talk to him.
He
But
is.
at the same time, yeah, I mean, all the athletic, all the baseball ability in the world, like stupid good athlete. I mean, we've talked about him since he got drafted about hitting 200-foot home or 200, almost 500-foot home runs in Arizona for, I think he hit like 490 or something like that. It's been kind of crazy. So, yeah, it just sucks when, you can't put A and B together. He's had a decently good year. I think he's batting around 200 in that area. Isn't a superstar or anything, but having a decently good year, especially for playing every day. And yeah, I mean that's kind of all we ask is to see Joe Adell play every day. And I know I said he's batting 200, but it's not necessarily all about the batting average.
That's not a decently good year, dude.
I mean, if you go,
Decently good year.
if you go look at the stats, he's having a decently good year. I think he's on pace for 25 home runs or something like that. So very Joey Gallo like of a year. And I don't think anybody said that Joey Gallo ever had a bad year, but it's not 40 plus home runs like Gallo had.
Then it's a bad year. I mean, you could justify it if you're hitting 40 home runs. Like Kyle Schwarber last year hit what, 215 with 45 home runs?
Hmm.
We can justify it. 25 home runs and 200? Can't really justify it. But I still believe in his potential. I'm still sad at what the how the Angels handled him. Nonetheless, Nate.
The one good thing about Joe is he has gotten better defensively, and that's been a big key to a lot of Angel fans and the frustration they've had with Joe Adell is he's been very bad defensively early in his career. One of the better right fielders in baseball when it comes to defense this year, so that's good. It's tough to say he's having a good year. He's got like an 87 WRC plus or something like that. I know it fluctuates every day, but it's somewhere around there. So he's a below average hitter. He's been an above average defender, and like we've talked about, he's been a below average base runner so far this year. So it's hard to say like when you put all three of those things together, he's been below average in 2 out of 3. I wouldn't say he's been good, but I just think that it's good for him to be able to play every single day, find out can he play every single day? Is he a guy that is on the next Angels winning team, or is he a piece that you got to move off of and hope that you bring something in return to help you get to that next winning team? So I think that's been what's nice about this year is you've actually been able to find out. Maybe we don't have to make that answer. Some other people will have to make that decision, but like they have seen enough out of him this year to be able to make that decision at the end of the year.
Okay, so what conclusion are you reaching?
Which is all we ask for too, by the way. Like when you get these young guys,
That's fair.
You want to know what you have when you have this bad of a year too. We've been asking for this for quite a few years now. It's like bring in some of these guys and understand what you have, right? And you can kind of take away what you want. I think Mickey Moniak last year got a fair shake for the future, and it was like, all right, now he's not playing very much this year, so it was kind of weird to see that. But yeah, I mean, at least Joe Adell got a fair shake this year. I think it's fair to say. Now, what his future is, I don't know. I don't think. I mean, if the Angels decide to bring in 5 outfielders, I think we kind of know his future. And it's probably not with the Angels. They probably DFA him, let him go. But again, you have to remember that with Joe Adell, he doesn't have any more options. You can't send him to AAA. You have to DFA him to get him to AAA. And at that point, I would assume somebody picks him up if you DFA him. I could be wrong though.
No,
Right,
somebody
somebody
would
would.
pick him up.
Yeah,
Somebody
I
would
would
pick him
assume
up.
so.
The thing too on that side of it is like you mentioned Mickey Moniak. I don't understand when the Angels with Mickey Moniak. I think Mickey Moniak actually earned time last year.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you barely play him this year. So you didn't give him a chance to really kind of work out any issues he had. Yet he proved last year he can play.
You did give him the chance last year, and I thought he at least earned more play time than he did this year. But this year you're giving Joe Adell that opportunity. It feels like more than Mickey Moniak. And I mean, new manager coming in, new way of thinking. So that could have something to do with it as well.
They had enough injuries; they could have played them both, too. Honestly,
To be fair, he's played 102 games. He has 338 ABs, which isn't terrible.
It's just it's the consistency part of it. Some guys need to play every day. And I thought he thrived more when he was playing every day instead of sitting a day here, sitting a day there, sitting a day there, sitting a day there.
I think anybody thrives more when they play consistently. I think that's kind of the theme. You look at Luis Renifo, that's a great example of it. So, yeah, I mean, would I like to see Mickey Moniak get more at bats? Yes, but you also need to figure out who a 4th and 5th outfielder is too. So Mickey Moniak's not somebody on the Angels or somebody on a playoff team that's starting in the outfield. I mean, you get to July if Mickey Moniak's in the outfield for you, you're like, well, can we find a replacement for Mickey Moniak come, the trade deadline? Is there somebody out there that we can fill the hole with? And at this point, I mean, it's kind of the same way with Joe Adell too.
So other news. I mean, this is kind of the side thing going on that just okay. We know that by the way, the Blue Jays, as of this recording, swept the Angels. It made the Angels look bad doing it. I'm not sure how much we want to talk about that series. I don't want to talk about it at all. I don't. How about Taylor Ward and Chris Bassett? How about that? How about that?
Good for Taylor Ward. Breaking up a no-hitter with a home run. Not going down.
But terrible on Taylor Ward, and I know I'm gonna get some hate for this because it's just fun for people at this point. But like, terrible for Taylor Ward to come out and say he had terrible stuff. Like, coming from a pitcher, like, you got no hit for 8 innings, and you're gonna come out after getting the first hit of the game is on pitch 116 in the 9th inning. You're gonna be like, hey, he really didn't have good stuff today. I don't know why we couldn't hit him. It's like, this isn't the first time you've seen him either. This is the second time you've seen him, and the first time he shoved the bat so far up you couldn't even get the bat out.
Yeah, he's shoved twice against the Angels, hasn't he?
Yeah. The guy's got 18 punchies or 20 punchies in 18 innings or something like that. It's like, you're gonna sit here and say, oh, he doesn't have good stuff. Then why haven't you been able to get a hit against him? Like, that, just terrible. That's a losing mindset, and that's what you get from losing players, honestly. And that's what the Angels are right now, is a losing team, a losing mindset of like, oh, it's not our fault we couldn't hit him. Like, we've just been unlucky. It's like, no, you guys need to be better. Like, that's the culture piece that we were talking about last week, where it's like, the minor leagues does matter when it comes to winning and losing. And right now, the Angels have a very bad culture of like, well, it's not our fault. We have other things to blame, whether it's injuries, whether it's luck, whether it's curses, whatever people want to blame. That's what the Angels are okay with. And it's like, you don't see the Dodgers going out here and blaming the 250 injuries they've had this year. They're in first place. They don't care that they've been.
I don't know that I'm grabbing your argument here, Nate, because you're saying that it's about culture, this, and this. But to me, if he was making excuses, he would have been saying, you know what, he just had, his stuff was too good for us. To me, he'd be saying the exact opposite of what he's saying, of what he said. So I'm not sure your argument flies here.
He's saying that the stuff wasn't very good and we just got unlucky. That's what I got from him. It was like, when you're with that argument, like, oh man, I just don't know why we couldn't hit him. He wasn't very good. It's like, that's a losing mindset, in my opinion.
You say that about Tyler Anderson, though.
What, his stuff isn't very good, but Tyler Anderson isn't going out there and striking out 20 in 2 starts against you.
But he gets lucky and throws up zeros. Yeah.
Which he is getting lucky, and the numbers actually back that up. But Tyler Anderson doesn't have a K per 9 of 20 against the Angels. 20. That is ridiculous. A K per 9 of 20? This guy wasn't in the rotation 2 weeks or a month ago. He's a 28-year-old that hasn't been a starting pitcher, and they're like, oh, well, we'll just give him a shot. Oh, you know what? He's been pretty good. What's he got? 2-0 with a .64 in those starts.
It tipped the cap to me. I turned that game on right when he hit the home run. I was
15 innings. He's thrown 15 innings against the Angels, 2 hits, 20 Ks.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, tip the cap to the Angels for not getting no hit though. Longest streak in baseball as well. I think 1998 was the last time they got no hit.
The last time they made the playoffs too.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty good there. So, yeah.
All right. Well,
maybe that's the key to starting to be good. You need to get no hit. The Rays used to get no hit all the time.
So let's talk about one other thing here, and that is the 6th inning rule. Word in the street is there's going to be a new requirement for pitchers, so they have to start 6 innings before they can be pulled. Where do we begin, Jared? Or where do we begin?
Well, I mean, first off, I don't know if I like it or I don't like it yet. I mean, it could end up being good. It might. I mean, it helps certain teams out because you look at a lot of the um, analytical teams, and they don't let their guys throw the third time through the order. They don't let them throw over a certain amount of innings. I mean, it kind of takes the analytics out, which I like. So I don't know what to think about this right now. Side note on this, if you're like, oh, you know, I didn't hear about this 6 innings, 6 inning thing. Manfred just threw it out there as an idea. I don't know if it's going to actually be a thing or not. Pitchers can be pulled before 6 innings if they hit a pitch limit. I think I want to say it was like 30 pitches in an inning or something like that. Or if they give up a
It's
certain
just
amount of
100 pitches.
100 pitches, that gets to be that definitely gets to be a little bit rough. If you're going to let somebody go out there and throw, you know, 100 pitches in 3 innings, you know, and just get shelled,
Well,
I don't
he
think that's
can leave if he's given up 4 or more earned runs, which is interesting that they use the word earned, because you could have a meltdown start of, you know, hey, we gave up 7 unearned runs in an inning because there were 2 outs when we made an error, and next thing you know, it's a grand slam here, it's a 2-run homer here, and I can't take him out because he's only at 65 pitches in the third. So it's interesting wording for sure.
Yeah. So like I said, I don't know. Me being somebody that likes the numbers, likes analytics, I don't know how it affects this. I mean, you're gonna have to find 5 guys who can go out there and throw 6 innings every single start, you know, and give up hopefully less than 4 runs a start, right? I mean, isn't that the goal anyways, is to have a quality start every single time? Like that's what you want to do. So I guess maybe quality starts increase a little bit. I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent on it right now. I want to see it. You know, I was indifferent when it came to the pitch clock, and I'm not upset about it right now by any means. I think that, you know, rules should be a little bit different in the playoffs, and I think this is one of them, that this rule should definitely be a little bit different in the playoffs, because all of a sudden you're making your starter in the playoffs throw 6 innings maybe, or throw, you know, 100 pitches, or give up 4 earned runs. Like, what if, you know, you can tell he doesn't have his stuff, and you don't want to let him give up 4 earned runs. Like, that gets a little bit tough. And then also with the opener, you're not able to have an opener anymore. There's a lot of questions there. There's a lot of very interesting questions, and it takes a lot of the strategy out of the game too. Like, I like going to the bullpen. I like the bullpen strategy. You know, that makes a lot of fun. And I know that's still around in the seventh, eighth, and ninth, but yeah, I feel like it minimizes the bullpen in a sense too. I don't know. I'm
I
indifferent.
don't. That's why I don't think it's going to fly. I don't think it'll fly. I think the union will have a major problem with it. I think you're going to hear pitchers talking about the potential for injuries because they're being basically pressured to have to make it 6 innings by rule, basically. I mean, I think already in a league where we're seeing people complaining about the ramifications of the pitch clock itself, then add on to that, I think you're going to have some problems. I don't understand why they need to keep tinkering with stuff. Baseball's a great game. It's a beautiful game. Why are we tinkering with stuff?
I feel like the NFL tinkers a lot, and we like what the NFL does a lot of the time. Doesn't I feel like the NFL does, like,
I
you
think
know,
it's a mixed bag, dude. I really think it's a mixed bag. You know, like the kickoff rule is, I don't know how people are going to feel about that. I know that a lot of the stuff pertaining to roughing the passer and personal fouls are highly debated to this day. A lot of people don't like them. You know, I don't know that I agree.
and I know you
I
say
think the
I know you say it's a mixed bag, but also one of the things that probably makes a difference, and Nate, I don't know if you're going to this or not, but one of the things that makes a difference between the NFL and the MLB, and it feels like this is an umpire thing. Umpires don't say they're wrong. The MLB won't say it's wrong, right?
that's exactly what I was going to
I
go
feel like
to.
the
Is the
MLB won't be
NFL
like,
is
oh, this is the wrong thing. You know, that
Mhm.
that's what I feel like with the MLB. They won't say it's wrong. They'll just kind of like, oh, we're gonna keep running, we'll roll with it. You know, where in
I'm
the
not sure
NFL,
I follow you on the won't say it's wrong compared to the NFL. The
the
NFL,
NFL has
the
changed
NFL
rules
has
for 1 year, and then we're like, oh,
yeah
this didn't work very well. We're gonna go back to the old stuff. It feels like the NFL's done that a couple times. Could be
they
wrong.
do it. They do it very rarely. Like it's not what you're making out to be from my point of view, from just the NFL side. I think they're very similar. They don't hold officials accountable as much as they don't hold umpires accountable. They oftentimes will not turn back from a rule they make. They make it worse. And I would see the problems with the pitching clock, which I do still have concerns about being compounded by then saying, hey, you got to go 6 innings. Dude, not ever. When we have guys throwing 100 miles an hour, 102 miles an hour with the action they have in their arms, I think we're pushing potential for more injuries than we already have by making this requirement. We already have this massive influx of injuries.
I'm going to be the unpopular opinion here because that's my job. But honestly, like I think we do a bad job with pitchers in general. Like we train pitchers to throw as hard as they can for as long as they can. And when they're in a groove and they're throwing as hard as they can for as long as they can, we take the ball from them in the 5th inning and say, you know what, you face the lineup twice, you're all done. You're throwing a no-hitter. Yeah, but you're going to have to face that lineup a 3rd time, and we don't want to do that. So I think this actually could be better for starting pitchers for some. It's not a one-size-fits-all rule, obviously, but it will allow some guys to actually go out there and pitch and actually be who they're supposed to be. I mean, like we can go back to the Blake Snell thing of the World Series in 2020, where it's dude's got a freaking no-hitter, and we're going to take him out because he's going to have to face the top of the lineup a 3rd time. Like, why? Why? You train all off season long to throw 200 innings. Like that is the goal in every pitcher's mind. Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, Justin Verlander, all these guys, they want to throw 200 innings. They want to throw 180 innings. Like they don't want to go out there and be told like, hey, you're going to throw about 115 innings this year. And, hopefully you do okay. And, the bullpen's going to throw about 95 innings. They're going to be, 2 or 3 guys are going to throw upper 80 to low 90 innings. Like that's not good for the bullpen guys either. Like the bullpen guys are having to throw 4 days in a row just because these starting pitchers are going 4 or 5 innings. So it actually might be better for everyone to let these guys go. Not everyone, obviously. There's going to be some specific guys that it's not going to favor, but I think that there's a chance that this actually isn't a terrible rule. I can see already in some of these things where how teams are going to exploit this. I could see a team being up 5-0, or let's say they're up 7-3, and it's like, oh, we're up 7-3. Our guy's throwing 60, let's say about 80 pitches in 5 innings. They're either just gonna walk some guys around, let them score, take them out, or they're gonna like make him throw 20 pitches and just run up the pitch count. I could see this being bad. Also, this could help too with some hitters. Teams might just let guys start swinging the bat a little bit more too, instead of. I know it could go the other way too, where teams are going to let guys take more and try and get into the bullpen earlier. But you might just be like, hey, he's got to go 6 innings anyway. Let's just go swing it, instead of like, oh, let's take until we're 0-2 or 2-2 or whatever. So obviously philosophies are going to change with this, but it might end up actually being a lot better for the sport and for the guys, because I don't like knowing that Paul Skeens might only go 5 innings tonight, or whenever his next start is. If we're having to watch Paul Skeens go 5 innings because he's, we got to keep him safe, it's like, why? Like he's the best freaking pitcher in baseball. Let him pitch.
Well, if they want to keep him safe, stop training our kids now at an early age up to go 102 miles an hour. I mean, we're wrecking these people's arms. We're not meant to do this.
Skeens may be a little different, 6'4". I feel like it's a lot.
I'm not talking about Skeens in general. To me, he's an otherworldly athlete. I'm talking about the average person, that the average Joe who 20 years ago, probably the max he ever would have gotten would be 90, 91, 92. I look at Greg Maddux. Greg Maddux was the pitcher of pitchers, man. We don't talk about him enough. The guy never threw, I think, more than 92, but he had his control was great. He rarely ever got hurt. But why? Because no one forced it extra out of his arm. Everything fundamentally was great. He had 4 pitches. Best pitcher I've ever seen.
But then you have Randy Johnson, who pitched till he's 41, through
He was
upper nines.
6'10", dude. Come on,
I-
that's a
I'm-
totally different guy.
Perfect.
Okay,
I
but-
got the final. I got the final example before we say goodbye. Not everybody's Nolan Ryan. All right, like that's the perfect example. Not everybody can throw 20 years of 103 miles an hour, whatever Nolan Ryan was throwing. Derek, you saw him in his heyday. We were just children when he was in his heyday. So
I didn't see him. I saw him at the end.
yeah,
It was still special.
yeah, exactly. Like not everybody's that. You don't get that. That's why the greats are so great.
The great way, yeah. Pedro Martinez was probably the second best pitcher I've ever seen.
Yeah.
His top was 94, I think, but he was his
I think he
movement
was. I think he was
otherworldly.
upper nines.
He was throwing.
I think he was.
I think. I mean,
I think it was
wasn't
97,
whatever
98.
it was. It wasn't speed. It was his movement that was so good. And his control was phenomenal. It was never speed. Joel Zumaya, Detroit reliever. That's the guy I remember who really started bringing the speed, and everybody started following after him. And ironically, Zumaya's career was shortened with arm injuries.
This could be good though, just for the philosophy of baseball as well. You might start to see teams start prioritizing guys that throw strikes instead of guys that throw super hard. This could be a really big philosophy change that baseball needs to have, because drafting the guys that throw 97 to 100 who can't throw strikes and putting them on and saying like, hey, you got to be a starting pitcher. That's not, it hasn't worked out for a lot of people. The guys that have really been successful are the guys that can throw 3 pitches, 4 pitches in whatever spot they want, whatever time they want. So it could be good. Could be good.
All right, everybody. There you go. 6 inning rule. Let us know what you think about it.